So this is the May version of the Mortgage Market Playbook, Adapt and Thrive. So there's a lot of changes that went on in the industry in the last, call it week to 90 days. And we are going to go through them. In addition, Amber is going to tell you a little bit about an artificial intelligence program that is the new bee's knees, and everyone's talking about it, and this is how you can implement this in your business. For those who don't know who we are, my name is Dave Flashner. I'm this regional vice president of Stockton Mortgage. We do this webinar once a month. It's always the first Wednesday of the month. We do different topics. So let me introduce you to my team. We have Suzette White and Beth Martell, who are my team members. If you work with me personally, you're going to work with Amber, Suzette, and Beth. Beth, fortunately, I'm not going to say unfortunately, is not able to attend today. She's got a brand new baby at home. She's on FMLA, loving on that little Jew. But Suzette is my right hand. Anything that comes through my pipeline, clients, contracts, you'll be working directly with Suzette. She assists you get to the closing table. Amber is our marketing director. Anything that you need from a marketing perspective, we can contact me and Amber can help you. If it's co-branding some marketing material for one of your listings, or just you need more information from us and you have something that you need to put on a flyer, let us know. Amber will put her email in the chat box. Email me, email Amber. My team is your team. With that being said, I'm going to have Amber go over the next 15 or 20 slides talking about artificial intelligence within the real estate field. Take it away, Amber.
All right, so today we're going to discuss how we're utilizing artificial intelligence with real estate. I'll go over some real life applications on how you can use it with your business, how to effectively use ChatGPT, and then also the pros and cons. By show of hands, or just you can mute yourself, who's heard of ChatGPT? I'm sure most of you have. Yeah. And then has anyone actually used it by chance? All right. It's a really easy system, and we'll go over how to do that. I won't go verbatim, but essentially artificial intelligence is you use various types of algorithms and different types of language models that can help a machine learn to interact with data and make predictions so you can take actions based on that information. Now with ChatGPT is essentially like a chat box, right? And you see the GPT, so generative pre-trained transformer, right? It's a language model, and it's here to generate human-like responses in a conversational way. Of course, it does have its limitations, but you can, one thing I really like about it is you can do follow-up questions to any of the prompts that you create. It will admit if it's potentially will make a mistake. It also rejects any inappropriate requests. So the birth of ChatGPT, it was developed in 2015, or OpenAI was founded in 2015 by Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and a few other entrepreneurs. The most notable investors was Microsoft, which invested $1 billion in 2019. And Elon Musk, actually a year before that, he dropped off of the board due to potential conflicts of interest with Tesla and SpaceX. But basically, ChatGPT opened in 2019, and it is now one of the largest and biggest language processing AI models out there. Fun fact, it's estimated that ChatGPT costs around $100,000 a day to run. So that's costing OpenAI about $3 million a month. I did read somewhere maybe $750,000 a day. I don't know if it's that, but just a fun fact. The power and influence of AI, whether you like it or not, it is becoming immersed in our society, in our businesses. This is a really cool statistic. So this takes online services that reached what time length it took to reach 1 million users. Netflix, 3.5 years, Twitter, 2, Facebook, 10 months, Instagram, 2.5, and ChatGPT, it only took 5 days to reach 1 million users. Even if you don't know if you're going to use it anytime soon, the interest is there. So I just think that's a really cool statistic. So how to access ChatGPT, here's the website. I'll drop it in the chat box later, but just know that there's 2 different versions. You have a free version, which is what we're going to utilize today. Then you have ChatGPT Plus, and really the main point of the premium package is it's run faster, it's more reliable. The free version, it's limited to data up until 2021. ChatGPT Plus also is faster. You don't get kicked off during peak times, which the free version does. So there are limitations, and we'll go a little further into that. Some practical uses, and I'm sure you could probably expand upon this list: social media strategies, listing descriptions, blog posts, copywriting. The list goes on, but for time constraints, we're just going to focus on social media strategies and content creation, along with listing descriptions and some copywriting. So I'm going to go into ChatGPT real quick and show you the dashboard. Okay, so this is the dashboard. Very simple. Like I said, it will let you know what limitations are right off the bat. And we'll actually go into how to effectively create what is called a prompt, which we would put down here. Just so you know, right here on the left side is a dashboard that keeps history of all of the chats or prompts, conversations you've had within ChatGPT. So this is really nice. And if we do run into any peak time issues where it's running slow, and maybe for time's sake, just use what I've already utilized. But we'll go back here real quick, and I'm going to show you how to effectively use it. Excuse me. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's back to the slideshow though.
So ChatGPT, you need to remember, it is not a search engine. It is not Google. So when you are writing prompts or demands, you don't want to ask it to give you a response. You're going to want to give it a demand, not questions. So when you're writing that, here's some really great tips that you're going to want to use when you are creating a prompt. So make sure that when you begin it, it's an action word. So instead of, hey, ChatGPT, can you create a social content calendar for me? No, generate a. Make sure that you're identifying exactly what you want in terms of your task and goal. If you have a persona in mind, let's say you're doing an event that's Gatsby themed, make sure to include that when you're creating your prompt. Gatsby themed gala, Gatsby themed nonprofit event, whatever it may be. As specific as you can. Provide context around what you're writing. Use double quotation marks for emphasis. I'll show you what that means. Specify the length of the response. So obviously a blog post, the length of that response is going to be completely different from if you're wanting to create a Facebook tagline, right? That's way short. Blog posts, much more lengthy. And then you're going to detail the format for the output, meaning if you're wanting to create a blog post, make sure that you are asking for a blog post versus a LinkedIn post. It's just different. And then, of course, you're going to include constraints. So from a lender's perspective, maybe Dave wants to talk about FHA versus conventional, or doesn't want to ever bring up conventional. He'll include in his prompt, do not include conventional financing, and it will gather that information and not include it. So we'll go back real quick. All right, we're going to use a few sample prompts. One's going to be about social media marketing and listing descriptions. So let me go bounce back in here real quick.
Hey, does anybody on this call, Santia, Robert, Janet, do you understand what ChatGPT is?
I believe I've heard about it, but not entirely.
Okay, Robert says yes. That sounded like Janet. What about you, Santia? Do you understand what it is?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I'm still trying to grasp my.
So basically, it is a artificial intelligence chat box that you can put that certain topics in the chat box, and it's going to return all these examples of what the wording should be. For instance, if you put it in this chat box, write me an itinerary in Paris, and it's going to show you an entire itinerary for Paris. See that?
Oh, that is pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is Yellowstone National Park to Jackson Hole. Basically, I was really descriptive. I want it to be less than 48 hours. I'd like to make a visit to one or two tourist spots along the way. And then, as you can see, it gives me a really detailed description, and it keeps me in my timeline.
Okay.
If you see this exact, if you put this in Yellowstone itinerary, and you're like, I see this, I don't want to go to Jackson. All you have to do is remove Independence Rock and another destination. It's going to come up with another format for you of exactly what to do without that. Now, incorporate that same model into real estate. I've got a listing at this. I need words. It's going to give you everything. If you have a fight with your spouse, and you want to write I'm an apology letter. All you have to do is put in the chat box, apology letter to my spouse for being an ass. And guess what's going to come out? An apology letter.
That's pretty cool.
It is very cool. The capabilities of this program is endless. There's so much to do. If you play with it, if you write a blog, if you want your listings, if you want content creation for social media, if you're trying just to write a letter, like a listing presentation, you need words and how to put it in words, just put it in there and it will come out and give you unique to yourself. If I do the same as you, what they're going to write from me is different from you. Even like for young kids writing book reports, they can use this without being plagiarized. I wish this was around when I was a kid, but it's not. But this is so powerful. And to the left on Amber's profile,
Yes.
everything that you do will save. So you can always go back to that and update it and add to it. You can use them over and over again. It's super cool. I know the nerd in me loves this stuff. Back to Amber. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, it's great topics to go over. So just a quick thing, like a listing description. I just went a little bit out there to just the breadth in which you can use ChatGPT. So let's write a listing description about a luxury single family home, 7 bedrooms, Miele kitchen appliances, a sauna, a backyard oasis. One thing I also want to reiterate, ChatGPT is a tool. It is not a replacement for your expertise and your knowledge. So always remember that. And when you are utilizing this and putting in a listing description, know that it can only take what you're giving it. So it may not have a grand foyer. Of course, you don't want to cut and paste all of this, but what it's doing is it's giving you some compelling, thought-provoking information, because a listing description, that's more than likely the first time a prospective buyer is going to hear about that listing. And so you want to be able to entice them with some engaging content. So this is what it gave me. But then I said, oh, what about a school? Because school zones are so important. Highlight the property is near an award-winning school. It gave me back this really great piece. This stunning Atlanta residence is located in one of the city's most prestigious neighborhoods and is in close proximity to award-winning private schools, and so forth. Enjoyed the convenience of the short commute to school, allowing for more quality time with loved ones. Could I have created that? Sure, probably in 8 hours versus just typing this in. So it's going to reduce the amount of time that you're having to do something that's required of you as an agent, which is of course listings and creating those descriptions. Something that I really liked about this too, you can build upon what you are entering. So I asked ChatGPT right here, create a marketing plan with this listing. Make 3 online marketing ideas, 3 offline, and then 3 out of the box ideas. So the online marketing ideas, they're basic, but they do give them a little more depth into like how you should go about using each platform. So that's good. Offline marketing, a good foundation, but nothing to talk about. But you could ask ChatGPT, hey, why don't we go more in depth on how we can make the open house event more appealing? But right down here, out of the box marketing ideas, I love these. I thought these were pretty ingenious. Luxury car shuttle, virtual staging, which we do know about, but then even a charity partnership. Partner with a local charity hosting a fundraiser at the property. So it's not only showcasing the amenities, but it's also giving back and it's going to generate publicity. And then again, another way that you can utilize ChatGPT for this same specific description or listing is I asked it, turn this listing into a social media post that's no longer than 200 words with a strong call to action. So here we go. Cut and paste this. Again, you want to modify and edit as needed, but you've got a good foundation for what you can use for your next Facebook post or for LinkedIn. And then of course, it's got a strong call to action at the end. Does anyone have any questions about this? So far, I'm going to show you 2 more examples. I know that we're close for time, but I did want to show you the listing description because that's something that you do every day. All right, so this too, I'm going off script here, but these are funny too. And this is something everyone uses is social media. Right, find 5 funny Facebook ad taglines for buyers looking to buy their first home. And these are catchy. These are humorous. This is not run of the mill. It actually catches your eye. Want a pet, but your landlord says no, buy a home and adopt all the pets. Sick of renting, buy a home and never have to argue with your landlord about the thermostat again. Ready to graduate from dorm life. Then I said, use the same prop, but use it for Instagram, because obviously each social media platform is going to attract a different type of audience. And also you need to speak to them in a different language. So obviously Instagram is much bigger on hashtags than Facebook would be. Upgrade your Netflix and chill game with your very own cozy living room. Okay. And then what if you don't want to make it humorous, but again, this is going back to that voice and that tone. You want to make it sentimental. And buying a home is sentimental. It is a huge milestone for people, a place you call your home where dreams can take flight, the beginning of a new chapter in the story of your life. Again, maybe you can make these up yourself, but the amount of time it would take for at least me, this is so much easier to grab and utilize this. And of course, this is PU's real estate or mortgage side. Also, I'm sure most of you already have a social media strategy in place, but let's say that you want to refine it. And again, this is just emphasizing how you can build upon using ChatGPT for it. I just asked to create a social strategy for a real estate agent in the Atlanta area, focusing on first-time home buyers. Again, make sure you're using a strong tagline as to what you're trying to tell ChatGPT. I swear it's like a tongue twister. And then, who your audience is, what the goal is. And it's giving me a really good basis for how I can create a social media strategy. Let's build upon this and create a social media content calendar. Again, you're just going through and refining as you see fit. So then it gives me 7 different topics. And video is huge right now, right? Let's use omni-channel marketing here. We're going to go and say, all right, so I like topic 5, a fun fact Friday, something about Atlanta. For Friday's idea, I would like to do a video. Write me a script and keep it under a minute with a powerful hook in the first 15 seconds. So it goes right here and it talks about Cyclorama. It's a landmark in Atlanta, but let's move forward. Let's find something else. I asked it, create another idea for a video because I don't like the topic. Let's create a powerful hook and a powerful call to action at the end. So then it gives me another, I would say, basic script for video. It's talking about being a first-time home buyer in the Atlanta area. Fine, but let's see what we can do. I asked it to rewrite that hook with a touch of humor. So we're going from, are you tired of renting and ready to becoming a homeowner? Today we're going to show you how to make it happen in Atlanta. 2, are you tired of feeling like a nomad moving from one rental to another like a modern day tumbleweed? Well, it's time to plant your roots and become a homeowner in Atlanta. Which one is more creative? Which one's more compelling and is convincing for you to say, hey, this person knows what they're talking about, or hey, I like the way that Dave wrote this, and it's just more relatable, right? And then at the end, so let us be your fairy godmother and help you find your dream home in Atlanta. Contest us today about DPA and say goodbye to your nomadic lifestyle. ChatGPT is just going to make your life easier in terms of being able to effectively communicate in a creative style. And of course, that's going to take loads off of you when you are trying to do your own marketing. All right. One other thing I thought would be a good piece to talk about is, of course, as everyone is gaining more listings, let's say that you just left a listing, a seller, and you're doing a follow-up email and you want to use persuasive framework. Hey, Mr. Seller, thank you for meeting me today. And you're trying to create a compelling piece that's going to make them list with you. So I Googled what a follow-up email would be to a seller. And this is what I found. It's fine, it works. But what I did with ChatGPT, as you can see, is I asked it to use problem solution framework to remove any fluff. And then I pasted it in here. So then it goes and it creates a whole new email for me. Look at the subject line alone. That's a lot better than thank you, seller's name. It's going to solution to sell your home faster. And in our PowerPoint, you can actually compare the two. It actually lists out some problems and then it gives a solution. So it's just another way that you're going to be able to effectively communicate is by using the persuasive framework if you're asking ChatGPT to do that for you. I'm trying to think of any other ones, but again, you can play around with this. And the main thing again is get in here and use the slideshow, look at how to create an effective prompt, and you'll just start playing around. What you put in is what's going to be put out. Any questions about how to utilize it? All right, we'll just get back to the PowerPoint and then I will pass it on to Dave quickly. There are some pros and cons to ChatGPT, one being that the data is only up until 2021. So know that. Also, there are other effective AI models that I would highly suggest going out and using, and a lot of them are free. And if you have any questions, of course, you've got my email. Feel free to give me a call as well. I can put my number in there too.
All right, well done. Thank you, Amber. A couple of changes that we had like I said, within the last week, 2 weeks, 90 days, and just a couple tips on when your buyers or sellers are coming to you. So everybody's heard about these new loan level price adjustments. If you're not, then what happens is there's a grid for specific criteria on when you're buying a home, how the rates and cost are affected, right? And each adjustment based off of different credit score, whether it's a single family residence or a condo, they're all different adjustments and they're called loan level pricing adjustments. You've heard about this all over the media that it is better off to have a lower credit score to get a better rate. That is not accurate, okay? So what happened is we've had these loan level price adjustments for a very long time. This is not new. They just redid the grid, okay? Up until May 1st, the top of the grid for credit score was 740, okay? And there was no difference between a 740 and a 780, okay? That is no longer the case. There's now a bucket for 740, or a tier, let's call it, between 740 and 760, and then 760 to 780, and now 780 and above is the top of the food chain when it comes to credit score, right? Just like months ago, there was tiers 620 to 640, 640 to 660, and so on. Every tier has different pricing adjustments. They added 2 credit score tiers. That's the first change, okay? The second change is they are now charging a little bit more for a higher credit score than they were in the past. It's not that a higher credit score is worse than a lower credit score. All it means is that those buckets between the 740 and 780, there is now an adjustment where there was never an adjustment before. So if you have a 756 credit score, you are now in that tier between 740 and 760, and there is an adjustment for that tier where there was never one before, okay? They've increased the tier, the entire grid, between the 15 and 20% down payment, right? So there is an increase in cost to have a higher credit score and the larger down payment than there was before, okay? We have to compare before and after. We're not comparing the credit score before and after, right? So there was never a tier or a loan level pricing adjustment between the 740 and 780. There is now. In addition to that, the lower credit score, the 640 to 660, they've decreased that fee from what it used to be. Again, everyone's talking about it's so much better to have a lower credit score. That is not accurate. It is still beneficial to have a higher credit score and to put a higher down payment down, okay? It's just now the new tier system, the new buckets, the cost of having a lower score is not as expensive as it used to be. That is the difference, okay? Any questions on that? Because that is going around the internet. Hey, it's best to have a lower credit score. You're getting a better rate. That's not accurate. People are calling it the Biden rule. It is not the Biden rule, okay? This was approved by the government, the White House. They had to sign off on it, but it was coming from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And to get geeky with you, it's FHFA, which is a government program. This is why Biden's staff had to sign off on it, okay? Credit score is now adjusted. Loan to value is adjusted. Occupancy is adjusted. Now you see where it says in my slide that they factor in DTI? That may go away, right? They're fighting right now or trying to amend this bill to remove the debt to income ratio pricing adjustment. It's not there yet. I think it's going to happen, but as of right now, they are factoring in the DTI, okay? But again, more important, when a client comes to you and says, hey, I heard it's better to have a lower credit score. Am I going to get a better rate? No, that is not accurate. All right. Again, going over, a buyer will face a 1% surcharge, an increase of 3/4 compared to it was only a quarter. So there is a significant difference between 740, where it was yesterday and then today. Again, still cheaper, right? And there's just expenses higher when you're comparing the two. Okay. FHA happened about 120 days ago. They reduced the mortgage insurance premium. It used to be on every single FHA loan. I don't care what your credit score is. The mortgage insurance that you pay, part of your payment, was 0.85% of the loan amount. They have now reduced that to 0.55. So it's a 30 basis points difference on all new FHA files. That is a good thing. We're trying to increase the amount of FHA buyers. It is still on for life, though. That is something they're trying to remove. I do not think that's happening. That's my opinion. But FHA is now cheaper than it used to be. Now, what's better, conventional or FHA? In my opinion, it depends on the buyer, okay? If the buyer tells me I only want to put 5% down or 3.5%, okay, and I'm only going to be in this house for 5 or 6 years, then I'm going to compare conventional and FHA and whatever's cheaper, because mortgage insurance is going to be on for at least 5 years. So regardless if you have conventional mortgage insurance or FHA mortgage insurance, it's on for 5 years. Now, if a buyer says to me, Dave, this is my forever home, I'm never leaving, I'm planting 2 maple trees in my backyard, I'm going to watch it grow over the next 20 years. Conventional may be the better route because the mortgage insurance does expire when you get to 20% equity in the home, right? So the long-term investment, conventional is always better. A short-term investment, it's whatever's cheaper, okay? Now, rates are in the high 6s. They were in the 7s 30 days ago, 40 days ago. As rates decrease, there's a chance to refinance. So if someone's in an FHA loan now, we can always refinance them out of that FHA loan into a conventional loan. Again, the most important thing we're talking about is the mortgage insurance, and the MI is on for life for FHA versus conventional. But that premium did decrease by 30 basis points. That is a good thing for FHA buyers. We just went over what FHA buyers were. You notice on the slide, 0.85 to 0.55 in February. That's a 30 points basis difference. Okay. Basically, they're saying each buyer on an average is going to save about $800 a year. That's great. That's a vacation, a Christmas. That's several cell phone bills. You could do a lot with $800. So that's what they're trying to do. All right. Opt-out process. So there's a website you can go to. I encourage you as a real estate agent, you as just an individual, okay, go to this site and opt out. You put your name, your number, your email address in it. How does that affect the mortgage business? When we pull credit through the 3 credit bureaus, it's a tri-merge report. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. We can't control what they do with the data. There's a lot of different credit reporting companies, right? Credit Services, Credit Plus, that's the vendor, but they all pull the data from the 3 credit bureaus. Those 3 credit bureaus sell data to mortgage companies, to real estate. They just sell it, and it's a multi-million-dollar industry, and they're not going to stop doing it. Every single time I pull credit, even if I pulled out the client's telephone number and email address, these credit bureaus still have all the data from the credit cards, from everything. They sell that report to other mortgage companies. And your client, my client, our clients will get called by these other mortgage companies. My company does not buy these lists. I just don't believe in it. But there are online banks that spend thousands, if not millions of dollars a year buying these lists from the credit bureaus, which now they have a hot lead that just had their credit pulled, and they're going to call them. We had a loan officer last week have a client tell her that she was called over 50 times. And we have the missed calls. I have the screenshot. So how can we prevent this? Your client, our clients can go in to this website and opt out, and they will not have these junk calls. Now, it takes about 5 days for the system to work. So if someone called me up and says, Dave, I want to pull my credit today, if they haven't done it yet, and I pulled their credit, even if they do it today, it takes a couple days for the process to work. All right, opt out. And Amber put the optoutscreen.com in the chat box. Any questions on the opt out?
And Dave, they said it was 5 days. Is that right?
Correct. About 5 days. That's the average. It could be 3, but they're saying 5 days, it's done. And then you're completely removed from the credit bureaus selling the report to the other mortgage companies. Steps to opt out. All right, something new that my company has done. I'm very proud of this because I think this is the future on how to create more business as you as a real estate agent. Okay. The supply, as we all know, is not there, right? I don't care what state you're in. Everybody on this current call is Georgia. We don't have enough houses for the amount of people that are going to buy houses. The inventory problem. So we can build our own. So Stockton Mortgage has closed out a single construction permanent loan, right? What does that mean? Single close. That's a one-time close. We're not closing at the beginning and then closing at the end. We're not doing it. We have one close. That means one set of closing costs. That means one-time approval for your buyer. The interest rate is set from the beginning. All of your payments from start to finish gets rolled into the loan interest only. Your client doesn't have a payment until the house is finished. So if it starts in January, we don't move in until September. January through September, they factor in the interest that is accrued and rolls that into the loan. So there's no payments during the construction process. Okay. Instead of two transactions, it's one. That's why it's called the one-time close. There's one promissory note, one deed. It's reduced closing costs because we only have one closing. And what's great is this: if we close in January and their interest rate hypothetically is 7%, and by the time we actually move in, the market gets better, we will give a float down option during the construction portion of the process. Okay, it's a one-time float down, which is so beneficial to your buyer. We lock in now. If rates get worse, we're good. But if rates get better, we could do a one-time float down. Huge piece of this puzzle. They qualify only once. Most lenders and most of these programs, you have to qualify in the beginning and qualify in the end. Not us. We're closing one time. All right. Must be a single family residential. We're not doing duplexes or more. It's got to be a primary. If you have a second home, it's management approval. You call me up. I look at the entire detail of it, right? Now we're looking at loan to value. We're looking at the build out. We're looking at everything, but it's designed for primary. With exceptions, we will do it for a second home. What's ineligible? We're not doing manufactured homes. We're not doing trailers. We're not doing boats, no condos. It's single family residences. This is what's pretty cool also. We can go up to 95% on a primary residence for this program. Just like any other Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac product, we're following the AUS guidelines. If Fannie allows it, we're going to do it. That's the same thing with VA, USDA, and FHA. If we're allowed to do it on a normal loan, we'll do it for a construction loan. Here's another great characteristic about this whole process. If you went to another lender, they're going to broker this out to another company. We're doing everything in-house. Our construction loans are monitored by your loan officer, the processing team that you normally work with, and in-house underwriting. We're not brokering them out. The process is so much easier when we can control it. There are minimum credit scores, just like every other loan program, right? The government loans, 640 and above, we need reserves. So there are things that we do require. So a normal VA loan, you don't need reserves. On this one, we're requiring a 2-month reserves, which means they want to see that you have 2 months of payments in the bank, right? Here for the conventional, they want 6 months and a minimum credit score of 700, okay? But again, we're going low down payment on these. On a conventional loan, they have 9 months to build it out. On a government loan, we have 6 months to build it out. All right, here's another thing that I want to go over, and we're going to wrap this up. A couple weeks ago, someone was all over social media. There's a 1% down payment mortgage program. I want everyone to understand the behind the scenes on when someone's promoting programs like that. Sometimes if it's too good to be true, it is. There is a 1% down payment mortgage program. I am not offering that service because it does not fit 95% of buyers. There's so much to this program, and let me get to it. So what you're seeing on the internet, if you're seeing it, there's not even the small print, and it drives me crazy that lenders are pushing this without telling you the actual facts of how you can get approved with this program. So buyers only need 1% down. The lender's going to provide the remaining 2%, right? So it meets the 3% minimum requirement. The lender's paying the 2%, buyers are paying the 1%. So need a 620, cool, no problem. Need a 50% DTI, I love that. Here's where it gets wonky. The buyer's income must be at or below 50% of the area median income. So who determines that? That's Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. The Metro Atlanta average is $86,000. In order to meet this requirement for this program, the household income cannot exceed $43,000. So if you're doing a $43,000 income and the maximum you can have is a 50% DTI, the amount of buyers that actually qualify for this loan is few and far between. That is what drives me nuts when it comes to pushing this loan program out. I would love for them to push the 1% program, but tell you this stat as well, that the household income can't exceed 43,000 and your debt to income ratio cannot exceed 50% of that. Most people, I'm not saying all, but most people has a household income above 43,000. And if they don't, then you have the DTI. If they do, there's a DTI issue, okay? So just know the small print before you see this. And if a buyer comes to you and says, hey, I heard that there's a 1% loan program, be like, yeah, but not many buyers qualify for it. You probably exceed the income limits. The small print, remember. Again, I just went over all this. The buyer pool is limited to the Metro Atlanta area. All right. Another awesome, and I'm so excited that they released this. They started doing this last year, and then they finalized it this year. Medical debt. Now, if we as a loan officer pull your credit report and you have medical debt on there, it affects your credit score. We don't care about the debt. We don't factor in that debt into your debt to income ratio. We don't care about a medical collection, but it does have a negative impact on your score because it's being reported. So they made some changes to how medical collections are reported in 2022. So once you paid a debt in 2022, a medical collection, it is no longer being reported. Prior to that, if you paid it, it just showed as a zero balance. The algorithm that drives your score sees a collection and sees it as zero balance, but it still recognizes it as a collection. And now as the months go on, the negative impact it has on the score decreases. Now, if you pay your medical collection off in full, it's completely removed like it never existed. I've seen clients that have very minimal collections, $187, $250. Oh man, I didn't even know. Pay it. They paid it off. Their score increased by 60, 70 points by removing that collection. So love that they did that. Now, another thing they did in 2022, if you have a medical collection, the collection agencies weren't allowed to report it for 1 year. So you had 1 year to pay it off. And if you didn't, that's when it reported to the credit bureaus. Awesome. Now, 2023, if it's under $500, it's not even being reported to your credit report, which is fantastic. If it's already there, I'm going to tell you to pay it off. Now, if you have a $30,000 bill, I'm not telling you to pay it off. It's going to have a negative impact on your score, but you don't have to pay it off. That's a lot of money. I'm talking minimal, under $500. If it's on there, okay, pay it off. 2023, under $500, anything new won't be on there starting. I think it was March 30th. This will increase homeownership because credit scores will go up. All right, that was it. I flew through it. Guys have any questions from me? Amber, Suzette's on the line. You guys have any? Robert, Santia, Janet?
Thank you so much. This was an awesome class. I learned a lot.
Awesome. That's why we do it. And we're grateful for you to join. The conversation doesn't end here. If you have questions about this or any other topic, let me know. We can go over that. Amber will send you a copy of this recording and a PowerPoint. So if you want to reference it, but hey, if you guys need anything, just holler out. Janet, do you have anything?
No, thank you so much. This was very interesting, very
Good.
informative. I
Well,
appreciate
look
it.
forward to seeing you on the next one.
Okay,
And have a great Georgia spring day, okay?
you too.
All right, bye guys. Thank you.